Good evening, folks. This is Red Wemette coming to you on another Red's Bedtime story. And Richard, you asked me about Tony Spilotro, what he was doing at American Bonding. I met a lot of people at American Bonding. There were several guys there that were bondsmen. Curt used to be a bondsman, Curt Hansen. He lost his license over a felony conviction, but I think that was his initial in there. I don't know, but that was way before my time. Tony, when he came in, it was a hangout. It was a place where everybody could congregate, and they were working on a lot of different problems at the time. He and Eric Weiner had a 707. As a matter of fact, Curt used to say he lives like King Farouk. You know, they used to fly out to Deming, New Mexico, where they bought a pail factory, plastic pails. It was foreclosed on by the Teamsters Union, Jimmy Hoffa. But at any rate, that's why he was in there. And I met him for the first time there. But there were a lot of people in there. I mean, it was, there was like 4 or 5 offices, plus the secretary was a close friend of mine. I actually wrote a couple bonds through there for the city of Chicago when I had fire escape taken down off the front of my building and stuff like that, liability bonds. But Tony was friendly. He just said hi, but that was about it. We never discussed any business. I did see a large easel type, I don't know how you describe it, bulletin board or whatever, probably maybe 3 foot by 6 foot, where they were trying to figure out how much money they had spent so far, or they could account so far to the IRS from the skim they took off of Circus. And I was told at that time, Tony called it a haberdashery, that he opened up a haberdashery. But later on, I saw articles in the newspaper years later. It was called a gift shop, but that was supposed to be in Circus. But anywho, what happened was I met Frank Schweihs there. I met Joey Lombardo there. I met Eric Weiner there. I met Tony Spilotro there. I met several of the bondsmen. I can't recall their names. A couple of them got lucky, and they were drilling offshore oil, and they hit it rich, and they hit their well came in, so they left, and that was the end of that. But I don't know what else to tell you about American Bonding. It was right by 11th and State, right close to 11th Street. It was only one building away. Tony Cozzo owned the building. They knew it was safe. It couldn't be bugged. It was a safe place to sit and talk. Everything was kind of controlled environment there. But that was American Bonding. It's got a lot of history to it. If those walls could only talk, you know. But then again, sometimes people used to go over to Mr. Pat's, which was the restaurant right next door. We used to cut through Mr. Pat's to go to 11th State, actually, police headquarters, Chicago police headquarters. But Tony was a very dapper guy. He wore a sharkskin suit, which was popular in those days, very shiny, and very much different than most of the people in there. He seemed to have a lot of class. We called him the little guy. He was nicknamed the little guy because he was short. Matter of fact, they all had nicknames. There was Lumpy, that was Joey Lombardo. There was Limpy, which was Frank Schweihs because he got shot in the leg or something during the robbery or whatever happened. And there was the rabbi, which was Eric Weiner. So there was Limpy, Lumpy, the rabbi, and I can't remember all of them, but my first impression when I got there, after hearing all the names being called, Limpy or Lumpy or whatever, or the little guy just left or something like that, or the little guy just came in, he's in his office, whatever, or he's in so-and-so's office. I kind of thought it was kind of cute because it reminded me of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, but they all had nicknames and they were kind of funny. I never see those nicknames in the newspaper that they really had, but Tony was about, I think, 5'5". I don't know for sure. He was short, and he was in real good shape, and like I said, they were trying to work to skim money with Circus. I think Milwaukee Phil was alive when they actually made the loan from the Teamsters pension fund. Jimmy Hoffa controlled that at the time. Matter of fact, Jimmy Hoffa was very instrumental, although I didn't see him there. I saw him at other places at other dates. But anyway, Richard, that's your answer about what about Tony Spilotro? What was he doing there? What kind of bonds did they write? They wrote every kind of bond. If there was a criminal bond coming up for someone, a burglar, or somebody made a phone call, they would bond them out and put them on juice. Or they'd bond them out and say you owe us something. Or if they were going on a score and they completed it, they had a bondsman there and they were out in 5 minutes. That's the way it was done. It was very, they had connections with the police department next door. They actually called over and they didn't have to go up there and make the bond, they brought it over later. It wasn't like the average person in Chicago. They had a lot of connections. Anyway, that's my bedtime story for tonight. And I wrote a book. It's called Nobody Cares and What I Did About It. You can get it at an autographed copy that I will personally autograph to you at redwemette.com, redwemette.com. Or you can buy just a regular copy at Amazon. You can order it at Amazon or Barnes & Noble, either one. At any rate, have a great evening and God bless you.